Alright guys, today we're going to go over some basics on how to use this circular saw. Okay, Nathan Cox here guys, thanks for joining us on Around the Home here. This is a basics video, how to use your circular saw. This is for some of you who just really never used one before and you would like to be able to cut a board without cutting your hand off, okay? So let's start off, basic safety stuff. You know, eye protection is really good, and so is ear protection. Okay, so I got some earplugs here. Okay, now we're starting off right. Now let's get over here to the saw and I'll show you how to cut some boards. Okay, not to sound stupid, but of course make sure you've got adequate power going to the saw. Now part of that is having the right extension cord. Real quick, you know, if you have a 15 amp saw, don't have some super skinny little interior extension cord running power to it. You need a good exterior cord. And you're going to want something that's at least a 14 gauge, if not a 12 gauge cord for your saw, okay? That's important or you will damage the motor on the saw if you have an inferior extension cord. So plug it in, make sure you got power. Okay, that's right. Okay, make sure both ends are plugged in and then make sure you got power. There we go. Okay, some of the tools we got here are very basic. A tape measure, and I do have, if you guys are not really crazy about, you know, how to read a tape measure, check out the top right of the screen right now, and you know, I got a very basic video there on how to read a tape measure, okay? We got some carpenter pencils, speed square, okay, and we're just gonna take a 2x4 here. Okay, now I'm gonna show you guys how to cut a really straight cut off here, whether you're cutting a 2x4, 2x6, whatever. And we're gonna use the speed square to help us. So what we're gonna do is first, you know, measure out whatever your distance is you wanna cut, okay? I'm gonna choose 21 inches here. Real simple measurement. And then we're gonna mark it with the speed square. Okay. Now we have a good square line. Okay, that's 90 degrees off of the board. All right, now to take this a step further, you could just, you know, you could just simply take the saw, you know, support your board, and then just cut right on that line. Get some support on the board so it doesn't move. And then you don't want to start against the wood. If you start against the wood, it'll kind of cause the saw to jump. You can actually damage the edge of the wood we're trying to cut. So make sure that you're lined up, but yeah, don't start the blade against the wood. All right, now you guys might have saw I kind of went into it a little bit, nicked it, and came back out. I wasn't as close to the line as I want to be. When you mark your line, you want to be just on the outside of your line, whichever side you're keeping of the board, and just kind of scratch along the line. But when I nicked in, I saw I was off a little bit. I pulled back just a hair, scooted over, and went back at it. Now that's a pretty decent cut, but you know, not perfect. If you're putting things together a little bit tighter, you can do it like this. Right, draw your line, and of course you've already measured it, blah, blah, blah. Now the saw has a depth guide, okay? It's generally like there's a lever right back here, okay? And when you release it, the deck plate will go like this. So you can cut really shallow, you know, or the full depth. Now, your saw, the reason why we're talking about this is your saw is gonna hit, we're gonna use the speed square to guide us, and your saw is gonna hit it, okay? So we gotta lift it up just a little bit. We'll still have plenty of depth to cut the 2x4, but now we're not gonna hit the raised edge of the speed square. So if you put the speed square down, you line the saw up using the speed square as your perfect cutting edge. Okay, now we're gonna step the saw back a little bit. And cut it. And now what we have is a very square cut, okay? One that's actually as square as if you had a miter saw, okay? And that's gonna be our very basic video right there. All right, thanks again for joining us on this video. This was the introduction to basic use of the skill saw. I showed you how to cut off the end of a 2x4 or a 2x6, you know. So if you were a small project, you're building something, trying to repair your deck, having to cut the end off of a deck board to replace a broken, a damaged one. This is your first time using the skill saw. I hope this gives you insight on how to do it safely and professionally. Okay, guys, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, check out my website. There's a link right there. Hundreds of more videos talking about everything. I'm going to continue to make more videos, basic tips on the skill saw for cutting, sheet wood like plywood and stuff like that. Eventually, I'll get those videos. I'll have some random videos up there right off the bat. But when I get those additional videos up, they'll be over here. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and you have a great one.